Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid admitting. When someone with avoidant tendencies texts you after a long stretch of silence, it's rarely because they genuinely miss you. More often, they're missing the sense of control they once had over your emotions. That simple message, "Hey,
This
I've been
is your
thinking
emotional
about you,"
system, a
isn't always
complex
a peace
clockwork of
offering.
feelings.
It's often a
But the
quiet
delay gear
test,
prevents
a subtle
real-time
experiment
contact.
to measure how
It
much
slows your
impact they
heart's true
still have
connection.
on you. They want to know if you still react when their name pops up. Do you pause? Do you reread their words? Do you feel that familiar tightness in your chest? Because that reaction, that hesitation, becomes proof that they still matter. It isn't love they're chasing, it's reassurance. They're checking whether, after all this time, your world still tilts slightly in their direction. And this is where most people slip. They answer from their wound instead of from their worth. They rush to reply, confusing small gestures for closure. In that moment, they unknowingly hand back the emotional power they were just beginning to reclaim. But not this time. Not when you understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. Once you see the psychology behind that message, everything shifts. You stop reacting impulsively and start observing calmly. You realize the text isn't about connection, it's about control. And your role isn't to respond out of habit, it's to protect your peace. Sometimes the strongest move isn't saying the perfect thing, but choosing not to say anything at all. Before going further, it helps to understand what psychology says about this dynamic, so you can interpret it with clarity instead of emotion. Attachment theory suggests that silence from an avoidant person isn't always about needing space. Often, it's about maintaining control. When you stop chasing, they feel a subtle shift, a loss of influence. Your absence creates tension in their mind. Instead of processing that discomfort, they reach out to test if the door is still open. This is often described as a control check, a subconscious attempt to confirm they still have access to your emotions. They don't necessarily text because they miss you. They text because they miss your reaction. It's not about affection, it's about reassurance. When you respond too quickly, their internal discomfort fades. Not because they rediscovered love, but because
This
they
bridge feels
regained
so
control.
fragile. I'm afraid.
And that's
It's
how many
delicate, but
people
it's
lose
strong.
the power
Trust
they built
it.
during
But what
silence.
if I lose myself in it?
They mistake
You
a
won't.
test for
We'll
closure,
find balance together.
a trigger for truth.
Welcome to my mind's
Doing
filing
so,
cabinet.
They give the avoidant
Everything is
exactly
meticulously
what they were
organized.
seeking,
And here's the
validation.
emotions
But when you
drawer.
recognize
It's
this
locked and
pattern
postponed
clearly,
for now.
your behavior changes. You stop responding emotionally and begin responding intentionally. You understand the situation for what it is, not what you hoped it would be. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that a message after silence means something meaningful has changed. They see a simple, "Hey, how have you been?" and immediately attach hope to it. They start believing the distance caused growth, that maybe this time things will be different, that maybe feelings have finally caught up. But that belief is often the trap. Most people don't fail here because they're weak. They struggle because they care. When that message appears after weeks or months, your mind might warn you not to reply, but your heart quietly wonders, what if this time is real? And that small thought is where the cycle begins again. You tell yourself you're responding for clarity, for closure, but in reality, it reopens the same emotional loop you were finally stepping out of. You assume their silence led to reflection, but avoidance rarely returns because they've changed. They return because they felt the absence of your attention. When you reply, you fill that gap. You remind them that the emotional access they once had still exists, and in that moment, their internal tension dissolves. Not because of love, but because control has been restored. Think about it honestly. They disappear for weeks, yet when they text, your heart still reacts. You carefully craft your response, making sure it sounds just right. You check your phone repeatedly, analyzing every message. That's not healthy communication. That's conditioning. Your mind goes back into survival mode, trying to maintain connection with someone who naturally creates distance. Another common mistake is over-explaining. You might say things like, "I was confused about what happened," or "I still care, I just didn't know what you wanted." You believe you're being open and honest, but to an avoidant person, it often translates as reassurance. They don't hear your pain the way you intend. They interpret it as confirmation that they still hold emotional significance in your life. Then there's the opposite approach, pretending you're completely fine. You reply casually, trying to seem unaffected, but even that can reveal more than you think. If you're still engaging just to appear detached, you're still investing energy, and that too feeds their sense of importance. Another mistake is expecting consistency after they return. You interpret one message as a sign of change. So when they disappear again, you blame yourself instead of recognizing the repeating pattern. You wonder what you did wrong, when in reality, nothing changed on their side. They came back to refill their sense of validation and left once it was satisfied. And that's the dynamic most people overlook. You offer emotional energy, they gain control. You offer vulnerability, they receive reassurance. You offer attention, they gain validation. They don't need to manipulate actively. Sometimes all it takes is sending a message.
We're
because
so
every
tangled
time
up.
you respond,
There has to be another
you
way.
confirm that
What if we
despite the
reframe
silence,
this?
they
Yes,
still have
a new
influence
perspective.
over you. And eventually, a realization begins to form. You weren't just being kind. You were maintaining their ego. When that unexpected message arrives, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You want to appear calm, but internally there's tension. Your mind warns you, but your emotions pull you in another direction. This is the moment where everything depends on how you respond. This isn't a moment to react impulsively. It's a moment to lead yourself with awareness. Because the person who stays emotionally grounded here holds the real power. Avoidant individuals don't usually reach out to reconnect deeply.
Learned
They
behavior
reach
has
out
deep
to
roots in the
confirm
subconscious
they still
mind.
can.
These
Your
roots
response
extend into
should
early
reflect a
experiences and
shift.
core beliefs.
It should
Understanding
show that
these layers
access
is key to
you
personal growth.
Isn't automatic anymore. One approach is delaying your reply. Instead of answering immediately, take your time. Give yourself space. This isn't about playing games, it's about emotional regulation. When you don't respond right away, they begin to feel uncertainty. The same uncertainty they once created for you. They might wonder if you've moved on, if they've lost their place in your life. That discomfort is unfamiliar to them. Avoidant patterns rely on knowing you're available. When that certainty is removed, the dynamic changes. Your silence communicates something powerful. You're no longer operating on their timeline. If you choose to respond, keep it neutral. Something simple and steady like, "Hey, I'm doing well. Hope you are too." No extra emotion, no revisiting the past, just calm acknowledgement. This kind of response doesn't give them anything to hold on to. They may reread it, trying to interpret tone or hidden meaning, but there's nothing there to feed their need for control. That neutrality becomes your strength. If the conversation turns emotional or nostalgic, that's where boundaries matter. A
Within the
clear and
mind,
respectful
intellectual knowing
response
and
like,
felt emotion guide
"I
us.
appreciate
But
you
survival
reaching
level
out, but I'm in a
regulation
different
takes
place
priority,
now,"
shielding us.
sets a firm
While
line
relational
without
depth,
conflict.
though beautiful,
That
remains
kind
distant.
of clarity is difficult to challenge. It doesn't invite debate or negotiation. It simply closes the loop. And for someone used to open-ended emotional access, that can feel unfamiliar. And sometimes, the strongest response is no response at all. Choosing silence isn't about punishing them. It's about respecting yourself.
You are
When you
so
don't
high up.
engage, they're left with their
Yes,
own thoughts,
I am above you.
their own actions,
Can I come
and
up
the
too?
consequences of
Not
both.
yet.
They might check
Look up
their
to me.
phone, wait, question their
In
assumptions.
a quiet library, memories
For
are
once,
preserved.
they experience
A
the
librarian
silence they
carefully
created,
archives the impressions
and
of
that
a
silence
bond.
doesn't need
Here, emotions are
explanation.
kept safe,
It
in a
speaks
special
on its
place.
own. Avoidant patterns don't break when you argue or chase. They shift when your absence no longer reacts. Because true strength isn't loud. It's composed, steady, and self-assured. When you stop reacting automatically, something changes within you. You begin to see things clearly. It was never just about their message. It was about your growth. The moment you choose calm over chaos, you step out of the cycle. You stop seeking validation from someone who couldn't provide consistency. You understand that their return wasn't about love, but about reassurance. And when you no longer provide that reassurance, the pattern loses its hold. That's when real healing begins. Not because they transformed, but because you did. You start to realize that closure
These fragments
isn't
so
something
confusing.
they can give you. It's something you
Like a broken
create by
window in my
choosing
mind.
not to reopen what already
I
hurt
can't
you.
make sense of it.
And in that quiet decision,
The
you
bottle is
gain
cast
something
into the
far
sea.
more valuable than answers.
Will it return,
You
proving
gain
I am here?
freedom. Because the goal was never to
The waves
defeat
bring it
them.
back, affirming
It
my
was
presence.
to outgrow the version of yourself that needed them. And once you reach that point, their silence stops having meaning, and your peace becomes louder than anything they could say.